What if a boy who was once called a disgrace to the family by his own father grew up to change the way the entire world understands every living thing on Earth? A long time ago, in England, a boy was born into a family of doctors. Everyone expected him to become a doctor too, just like his father and grandfather before him. But this boy was not very interested in books and lessons. He loved collecting things instead: beetles, shells, rocks, anything he could find outside. He would spend hours and hours outdoors, watching bugs and turning over stones, and it never once felt like work to him. He kept careful lists of everything he found, sorting his treasures by size, shape, and color, long before anyone ever taught him how. His father grew worried. One day, frustrated, he told his son something harsh: that he cared for nothing but hunting and chasing bugs, and that he would grow up to be a disgrace to himself and his whole family. Those words hurt the boy deeply, and he never forgot them for the rest of his life. Still hoping his son would become a doctor, his father sent him away to study medicine. But the boy hated it. Back then, doctors performed surgery while patients were wide awake, and watching it horrified him. He skipped his lessons and stopped paying attention completely, and he left the school without finishing. His frustrated father tried something else. He sent his son to a different school, hoping he would train to become a church minister instead. To the boy, it felt like just another attempt to force him into a life he did not want. But there, something wonderful happened. A kind professor noticed how much the boy loved studying plants and bugs and animals. Instead of telling him to stop, this professor encouraged him, and became his mentor and friend. For the first time, someone believed in the very thing everyone else had criticized. Because of this professor, an amazing opportunity came along: a spot on a ship, sailing all around the world, exploring far-off lands. His father did not want him to go. He thought it was a pointless waste of time. But eventually, with some convincing, he agreed to let his son go. The trip was supposed to last 2 years. Instead, it lasted almost 5. The boy sailed to jungles, mountains, and a group of strange, faraway islands filled with animals found nowhere else on Earth. He collected thousands of specimens and filled notebook after notebook with careful, patient observations. The sea was often rough, and he was seasick for much of the journey, but he pushed through it anyway, determined not to miss a single new place. On those islands, he noticed something odd. Animals on one island looked almost, but not quite, the same as animals on the island right next to it, as if each one had slowly changed over a very long time to survive better in its own home. The more he looked, the more curious and puzzled he became. It was a small, strange puzzle, the kind most people would have simply ignored, but he could not stop thinking about what it might mean. This little clue led him to an enormous idea, one that could explain how every living thing on Earth came to be the way it is. But this idea was so different from what almost everyone believed at the time, that he was afraid to share it right away. So he did something remarkable. Instead of rushing to tell the world, he spent the next 20 years quietly gathering more and more proof, checking and rechecking his idea again and again, determined to get it exactly right, even if it meant keeping his biggest discovery mostly to himself. Finally, worried that someone else might publish a similar idea first, he gathered his courage and shared his work with the world. His book stunned people everywhere. Some were amazed. Some were furious. But slowly, over time, the whole world began to understand that he was right. When he died, his country gave him one of its greatest honors. He was laid to rest inside a grand old church, in the very same hall reserved for kings, queens, and the most important people in the nation's history, close to one of the most brilliant minds who had ever lived. This boy, once called a disgrace by his own father, grew up to become Charles Darwin, the man whose ideas about how living things change and adapt over time reshaped all of science forever. He was buried in Westminster Abbey, steps away from Sir Isaac Newton, one of the greatest honors his country could give. He was doubted by his own father, bored by the schools that tried to shape him, and afraid of how the world would react to his biggest idea. But he never stopped watching, wondering, and asking questions. He proved that a quiet, patient thinker can sometimes see something that changes how the whole world sees itself. So the next time somebody doubts you, remember Charles Darwin. The very thing that makes you different might be exactly what changes the world. For more such interesting videos, please like, share, and subscribe to Zen Magma Wisdom Nest YouTube channel.